But California makes it really hard to have a business, run a business, and make any money because, frankly, it's a little socialist here, and they want the money spread around. So we're not supposed to keep it. When we make it, we're supposed to give it back to everybody else.
But something that you've done, which I see as a huge asset in the way that you operate the business, is you have always found people in your circle to surround yourself with, to give you. So I'm going to go back to your comment because I know you about being a control freak. I still don't see that because you're not the guy that needs to be here firing someone or hiring someone. You've done a very good job of surrounding yourself with experts and advisors in your professional and personal life. And I mean, obviously you and I, it was one of those serendipitous things. We struck a chord. And I think after the testosterone competition in your conference room, right? I think once we got past that, I think we can hang out in the locker room, type of thing. And we got to a point where, we have become friends and we've shared a lot of, successes and struggles, both professionally and personally with each other over the years. Especially on the golf course.
Well, appreciate that comment. I have been very fortunate. My father died at age 57. I was only 28 or 29 years old. And he was not a mentor when it came to business. He taught me how to be a good investigator and a good EP guy and all that stuff, but he did not stop to teach me business. I think he figured he was going to be around a lot longer. So I have had to look to other people for mentorship and read books and listen to audiobooks and stuff like that. So to the point you just made as far as me surrounding myself, I will have to give credit to Iacocca, who took Chrysler and turned it around on the brink of bankruptcy. Yeah. I read his autobiography. And he said when they came to me, he was at Ford, or I think he'd just been fired from Ford. I can't recall. They came to him, I think he'd been fired, and they said, we want you to turn Chrysler around. And he said, okay, no problem. One condition, you let me pick whoever I want, and no matter what I have to pay them, from every type of service that builds cars, paint, suspension, drivetrain, motor, aerodynamics, everything. He goes, you have to give me liberty to get everybody I want because that's the way I'm going to do it. And they said, fine, whatever it takes. Otherwise, we're going out of business. So he proceeded to find the best because he didn't know everything about everything.
Correct.
But he found the people that knew everything about that one particular thing in every situation. One of my greatest strengths, and I don't have a lot of them, but one I know is one of my greatest strengths is knowing my weaknesses. I will find people that are good at what I'm not good at. And I will own that. I'm not a braggart for the most part, but that's one thing. And I will give credit to Iacocca and the other people that I've observed do that because I know what I don't know, but I know people that know it. And that is the key, man. And then of course you got to turn around and give them the credit for it because I would be nowhere without the people that have helped me.
Well, and that's something that I think a lot of businessmen and women struggle with in general, right? Because you said you hit the nail on the head and said, what you don't know, right? So there's different levels of understanding, right? Of understanding what you're doing and what you know in your craft, right? So you can kind of start in this like unconscious incompetence, right? Of where, I don't know what I don't know. You're just out there kind of floundering, right? And this is something that we talk about with, with our salespeople that are out trying to make relationships, and then it's trying to move out of like, you don't know what you don't know to, okay, now we're moving into conscious competence, right? So it's, okay, I know what I'm doing, right? And I know that there's things that I don't know, right? But I'm, there's some stuff that I know, but I'm also now recognizing there's things I don't know until you get to this unconscious competence, which is, that's when I forgot more than you'll ever know about this thing, right? So, and I see that a lot with the business owners that we represent, right? Because we represent a lot of business owners. A lot of my clients fall in that, 50 to 1,000 employees type of, which I consider small business, right? And a lot of these businesses start like yours, where it might be generational, right? And there's been growth over the years, but a lot of times the business itself doesn't sophisticate itself enough, right? The back of the house, we might go win another contract and take the revenue from here to here, but the back of the house hasn't gone from here to here.
To support it.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen. So folks like yourself that are able to say, like, I know there's things I don't know, right? I need to put these people in place. Those are the people that I see time and time again that are able to sustain the peaks and valleys and the ebbs and flows in business and continue to ride it out. Whereas the folks that are kind of, maybe, and I'm going to use this term loosely, started in the field and go, oh, okay, I worked for Bob for 20 years. I could go do it on my own.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you haven't learned all this back office stuff, right? And so that's one of the challenges, especially in a state like California, which is overregulated and very litigious. It makes it very difficult. So it's hard. It's a hard thing to do these days.
It is hard. But thank you very much for that that clarification. I've never looked at it that way, but you're right. I am definitely very results driven.